Hi guys. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about my experience with acupuncture. This video is more about my health and the things that I have dealt with and what has worked for me. I'm obviously not a professional, so that doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody else. But I thought that I might share my experience so that I could possibly, it could help somebody in the future. Okay, so my camera died and I had to get the cord and plug it in, which means I'm now sitting on the floor holding the camera. So I apologize if it moves and stuff at all. But so back to what I was saying. Acupuncture. The backstory is I had my son in 2012, and following the year up to his first birthday, I slowly started having weird symptoms, which I didn't know at the time was any precursors to mean that I had anything wrong. I thought it was just the process of just having a baby. But during that year, by the time it was his 1-year birthday party, I had lost all my pregnancy weight, so I was down to my pre-pregnancy weight. I was even 5 pounds below it, which is awesome because, as any woman knows, there's always this fear of will I ever lose the weight? My family was kind of worried about me, but I was it took a year to lose it all. I don't know why it was such a worry. So I didn't think anything of it. Instead, I was just happy that I did. I was getting extreme hot flashes, unbearable. It was awful. I was so uncomfortable all the time. My hands were shaky, too. There was some other stuff. It's really hard to remember because it also affects how well I can remember certain things. So, anyways, jump another year later, and I get, I go to the doctor and I get diagnosed with hyperthyroidism. And then jump a few weeks later, and I got diagnosed with Graves' disease. And then I got diagnosed with Graves' eye disease, which that is an autoimmune disorder. There's a lot of things that go in with that, so I would advise you to look it up if you're curious on what it is. After about a year, I think, of trying to fight my thyroid with medication, and me having it pretty much not really working, and sorry, my hand's getting tired, and I was starting to get side effects from the medication, and the medication to try and control your thyroid when it's hyperactive is not good for you. It's not something you can be on for the rest of your life. So that was another thing. So eventually my doctor was like, let's take your thyroid out. So I think it was 2014, I had my thyroid removed. You can see the scar right here. And so yeah, I had it removed, and I was immediately put on medication for hypothyroidism, because then your body immediately goes to that. The surgery went really well. I did pretty much have no voice to barely any voice for almost 3 months. I couldn't talk the same. My voice was very raspy. My husband liked to joke that I sounded like Marge from The Simpsons. And I'm in roller derby, and it was really hard because even though at the point where I could skate, I could not yell loudly at all. My voice just was not there. So that kind of sucked. But luckily, my family and teammates were all super supportive of me. So yes, I had my thyroid out, but I was not cured. That wasn't the end of my road of what I had to deal with. So I've had to deal with a lot of stuff just with your thyroid is such a huge important part of your body, and you take it I took mine for granted. I didn't even think about it until it crapped out on me, which yeah, there's just no way of knowing. I mean, technically my Graves' disease was brought on by the birth of my son, the trauma of it, because it usually is triggered by stress or trauma, a significant thing that happens in your life. So After that, I dealt with a lot of stuff, trying to fix my dosage with my endocrinologist and all that kind of stuff. Another battle is, you don't really feel like you're heard from your endocrinologist. It was almost like, oh, your thyroid's out, you don't have Graves' disease anymore, which is not true. It's like it was very frustrating, to say the least. You pretty much have to be your own advocate. And no matter like how many articles you can read on all these symptoms that other people feel, and you're like, oh my god, I'm feeling the same thing, and how many people experience it that have Graves' disease, so obviously these go hand in hand, and your doctor's like, oh, that's something else, or you have to see your regular physician for that. And it's like, are you not treating me for this? So needless to say, no matter how shitty I felt, I didn't really get much help from my endocrinologist, except for, well, we can kind of change your dose a little bit. Also, as time progressed from being diagnosed, putting on medication, having surgery, putting on different medication, all that stuff, I slowly gained all my pregnancy weight back. And now I can't lose weight. And it's very frustrating. I'm not the most active person, but I am in roller derby, and when I do practice 2 nights a week, so that's 4 hours a week of roller skating, which is intense cardio, and that doesn't add to any extra days that I go or if I'm bouting. So it's like I'm not just sitting on my ass, like I am doing something. And a few months ago, all of a sudden, I just like plummeted. Like I felt horrible. And I'll just give you, I wrote it down because like I said, my memory sucks. So just a little idea of what I was feeling. I had mood swings, depression, a feeling of hopelessness, anger, tension anxiety, irritability, decreased interest in usual activities, which I'll get back to that because that's important, difficulty concentrating, fatigue, feeling out of control and overwhelmed, sleep problems, and joint pains. So I have felt all this stuff before with my Graves' disease and stuff, which I've just kind of dealt with it now for a few years. But the one that really got to me was my decreased interest in usual activities. Like, I didn't want to go to roller derby practice anymore. When before, even at my worst with Graves' disease, like, derby helped me so much. That was the one thing that I could, like, look forward to. Like, obviously, I love my family, I love my husband, I love my son. I love being a stay-at-home mom and a wife. But it's like, derby was my own, and I could go and, like, be an adult and, like, do good for my body. And it got to the point where, like, I didn't want to do that. All I wanted to do was, like, sit on the couch. I didn't want to do makeup anymore. I would have these feelings of, like, I want to, but I could not get myself to do it. It sounds weird, and unless you felt it, you won't really understand. But, so that's when it became really, like, okay, I need to do something about this, because this isn't normal. And so I was talking to my sister, and she had done acupuncture when she was pregnant with her 3rd child, and it really helped her a lot. And so at that time, I was thinking of going to a naturopath and doing acupuncture. Well, after talking with a naturopath, I found out that it was going to cost me like over $400 to see him. So my husband was like, why don't we try acupuncture first and see if that does the trick? And then if that doesn't work, we'll do the naturopath. And I was like, yeah, I'm totally fine with that. If we could save $400, I want to. So I went to the acupuncturist, and her name is Stephanie, and we clicked great, as well as anybody could click with me at that time. I was pretty miserable, and she could tell right away. And just the things that she said to me and noticed, it was just so awesome to know that, like, this person's, like, really looking at me and listening to me about what I'm going through, and not just like writing down what I'm saying and saying, okay, and then they walk out the door like the doctors do. So it was really great. My very first acupuncture appointment was September 2nd. And after that first appointment, when she stuck the needles in, I was laying there, and I know some people had told me, like, oh, I've done acupuncture before, but I felt nothing, like nothing happened. So I was laying there, and within a minute, maybe, I started feeling like waves and rushes, like throughout my whole body and my arms, like just really feeling like if it's my chi, like something, it was just like moving, and like every time I took a breath, like the wave would come through me again, and it felt amazing and just like reassuring, like this is gonna put me back to the way I'm supposed to be, so I can like live my life and be happy for myself, my husband, and my son. So that night, I remember I felt tired, but I felt more mentally positive, like definitely like more clear. I did see a difference in it. And before that, I needed to nap every day. I felt overwhelmed by everyday things. I wanted to cry. I had the feeling of like anxiety for no reason. So after that first one, I went and saw her every single week. And after starting that first initial appointment with her, I went 2 full weeks without having a day where I was miserable on the couch, because I was not able to do much. Like the idea of cooking dinner just like gave me anxiety, this overwhelming feeling of like all I want to do is go lay in bed. I just need to like crawl into a hole. And after seeing her, I was like functioning like a normal person. It was like amazing how fast it helped me. And then I didn't have another bad day until it was September 22nd, and it was my 4th session. And I had been feeling great up until that day. Then all of a sudden that day, like all my old symptoms just like hit me. And I felt like crap, and I was like, thank God I'm seeing her today. And it was a day away from me starting my period. And back to before starting acupuncture, I felt like everything kind of coincided with my cycle, but it wasn't like every time I had my period. It was pretty much constant. It was like maybe I would have one day a month where I felt normal. And when I looked it up online, a lot of my symptoms were related with PMDD. It's a really long word. I can't remember exactly what that stands for. But it's like PMS, but like way more hardcore and shittier. So definitely look it up if you feel like you have symptoms that are way worse than PMS and happen most of the month. Like it would coincide with ovulating, before ovulating, after ovulating, before my period, after my period. It was awful. But ever since I've been going to her, it's been great. For a few months, I was going to her every single week. And then I just accidentally ran out of appointments because I had been setting them up in advance. And I just got so busy at home with stuff that I forgot to make an appointment. And I ended up going like 2 or 3 weeks without an appointment. And I was doing good. And then me and my husband had been looking at houses and stuff. And so I felt like my life's going to get really busy. So I need to go see her. So I went to go see her just as like a precursor, or to be prepared for possibly getting overwhelmed. And so now I can go more than a week without seeing her. Like now it's been, I think, 2 or 3 weeks since I've seen her, and I'm going to see her this week. So I've been feeling great. Acupuncture is amazing. I mean, They are little needles, but they don't hurt. Honestly, the only parts that feel uncomfortable on me are like 1 or 2 parts on my foot that have to do with reproductive or like stress related pressure points and stuff like that, which makes sense. Like those are gonna be the ones that give you the most issues. And then you pretty much lay there in a cozy room that's dimly lit with nice music playing, and you just get to fall asleep, relax. I notice that if I go when I'm in a really bad state, I can't quite relax as well as I would like if I went the next time that I went. And I think that's just because my body is so out of whack at the time that it's hard for my body to just like relax and be. And other times I just like pass out and literally sleep for that hour, and it's amazing. And being a mom, I'll take any nap time that I can get. So I would definitely say that it's something to look into if you've definitely like tried to pursue a lot of other things for your health related stuff, and nothing is working. Try acupuncture. It's natural. I know a lot of acupuncturists will also give you herbal supplements too to help you with specific things. And with all the crap that we have in this world right now, you know, all the crap that we put in our body and stuff, I'm happy to do anything natural that can help me be healthy and be a happy, normal, you know, person, and be able to live my life day to day, because I wasn't. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this video and listening. I hope I didn't ramble on too much. I know it was kind of probably a little bit long because it kind of had a backstory to it, but like I said, I'm so thankful that I went to acupuncture, and I will continue going to her to help me, because it's helped me more than anything that I've done so far since I've gotten sick. So well, that's about it, and I wish you all happiness, and I hope you all are well, and feel free to ask me any questions if you have any, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.